causing conflict. We'd love to know your thoughts on the same. Remember, our handles on Facebook and X are the same. That is at K24TV, and our WhatsApp line will be right there on your screens. We'd love to know your thoughts and feedback. And now, let me introduce my guest. She is the lovely Dr. Jane Kimani, PhD for that matter, and she's counseling psychologist. I mean, Jane, we have to do this. We have to get the accolades right, right?
Among others.
Among others. Oh my goodness, yes. We've not even mentioned the others yet. How have you been?
Well, thank you.
I'm happy to see you today.
I'm happy to see you, Remy. Many years. We traveled many years.
Too many years, Jen. Too many years.
Yes, we thank God.
No, we thank God.
I think we built it over, was it 13 years ago?
I think it should be.
Yeah, about 13 years.
It should be 13 years ago,
yeah,
yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you and congratulations. You're doing a good job.
Thank you so much, Jane. And I'm also, I would say the same for you. I mean, you only keep growing, and we're seeing the, the fruits of the hard work that you've put out so far. So
thank you.
I'm happy about that.
Thank you.
Right. So let's get into it, Jane.
Yes.
Right. So one of the things I've seen from people who are single and they have children, for that matter, and they're coming from one relationship and they want to get into the other relationship, and maybe now they've met someone who also has children, whether it's men or women. One of the things that they find it a bit hard to navigate is to try and bring their perspectives together, especially because they've lived a particular life while they were with a different person. Now they've been alone, and now they want to get back into this family setup. So just give us that dynamic.
Well, I want to say they come from different backgrounds. There's some who've been married before. There's been death, because that's one of the greatest dynamics we have. Perhaps a spouse has passed on, left a man with children, or a woman for that matter, and there's got to be continuity. So that's a different one, because that is grief, and you've got, number one, to heal of grief, ensure your children are beyond the grief, so that you don't go to bleed on another person. Not everybody will be able to carry your grief. The next partner will not be able to understand, you know what, I've been passing through this. And because at times what I've found is that a lot of people tend to compare. There's a lot of comparisons, especially when it is about death, because you didn't expect it to happen. And usually you're okay with that partner until the partner left, despite the usual here and there. And so, the shocker, I usually tell people, don't rush into a relationship until you're done with healing. I know healing is a lifetime, but at least a certain dimension of mourning, and go along through it with the children. Don't do it alone.
I see. Because
you may get into a new relationship because you've healed. You met somebody who has excited you, and kind of like now there's a new perspective about your life, and you forget the children have not changed a thing. It is still about their daddy. It is still about their mommy. So you've got to take them for counseling. And I tell a lot of parents, don't just do this thing alone. Go through the healing with your children. That is one dynamic when it is about death. And let them also accept we are ready to have another person in our lives. And don't force them to call him daddy. Don't force them to call her mommy.
I see.
Yeah, that comes naturally, and it is with your, it takes a lot of effort for you now to prove to them now, okay, daddy has gone, okay, now we can move on. And usually they accept, especially in a generation that's very different from our generation. The Gen Z generation, they understand. We've got which is the other one after Gen Z?
Alpha. Gen Alpha.
We have the Gen Alpha, and the oldest slightly than Gen Z was?
X's? Yeah, millennials.
It was millennial.
And then is it, yes.
Yeah, all those, they're open to change. And so I believe what we need to do is not to ignore them, and not just to assume that because a partner has passed on, you just come and inform them this is a person. They also have to accept that person. There is a second dimension where perhaps it was a divorce or a separation. if it's a divorce or a separation and you had children, you've got to understand it's you who divorced, it's you who separated, it's not the children who divorced with their parent. And so when you're very bitter and now you've suddenly found healing with another partner, they've not moved on with you. And usually that one, unless it's handled very, very well, most of them get very bitter with the parent who is moving on. And they at times blame the incoming parent, feels like you've come to cause the damage. Mommy and daddy would have come back together. Yeah. It's about you. And this one, I always tell parents, don't take children for a ride. Don't take them for granted. You'll be grounded. You need to take them for a walk with your words and let them understand this is what has happened. I've tried to reconcile. You've seen the effort you've made. It is not working. And let it not be immediate. Because if it is immediate, they'll not respect you. Most of them will say, this is the reason why you left my mom or my dad, eh? Because of Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so.
This is what you wanted to do the whole time.
And now you want us to love him. And you know what they do? They rebel within the family. They rebel within. Why? They want to make it so hard because they still have a feeling perhaps you could go back to their original parent. So you've got to walk with them and let them know the truth. Sit with both parents and them when it comes to a case that you know this separation or this divorce is not going to bring us back again. We are actually done. Let them know why. You may not give them the intricate details, but they're mature enough to pick the truth. And let them know this is a situation, we've worked it this way, we've worked it this way, we've tried it this way. And then also, most of them witness. If it's violence, they've witnessed perhaps if there was violence. Yeah. If there was anger, they've seen the outbursts of anger. Just let them know, no, I need to heal. But for that parent, don't rush to another relationship. Because for a start, you'll go to bleed on the new partner. You know, you've carried your wounds. It's different from mourning. You've carried your wounds. So what happens? You go now to bleed. And that's when most people say, ay, these, no. Just that they were not healed. And they were not ready. So do not move into a relationship to heal your wounds, because the wounds will bleed on that person. And consequently, subsequently, even that one will be very hard to work. It will be like, wow, I thought I love her, but. So first of all, heal that but. And among other things, as you may go for counseling, you may read books, the greatest healer, Remy, is time. Time is the best healer that we have. So take time, heal, before you get into another relationship.
I see.
And we have the third dimension. The third dimension of somebody who has children but was never married. She got children single. Yeah. And that happens. So what do you do when you meet somebody to marry you? Is not to prepare the children that you're going to have somebody in your life. I want to get married. But you know the fear of the children, especially the older ones? They fear this man will also live with another child, and now we are going to be 4 if we were 3. So you've got to let them really, really have time with the other spouse. In all these dimensions, you've got to allow children to integrate so well with the other spouse and be open enough to hear from them, their view and their perspective. And also to get their feel. You mean the children to get the feel of this man or woman so that they can also give you their opinion if this is someone that they want in their life as a prospective parent. And you know, most parents are afraid of that. Because they're afraid of being told, I don't think this is a person we want. Most parents are afraid of rejection because they've suddenly found a love. But I think when the children say this is not like the spouse, or this is not like the father I would like in my life, ask them why. They will tell you why. And it's important to listen. And if it makes sense, listen. If it doesn't make sense to you at that time, reason it out with them. Because some of them have got just the ideal picture, especially the third category. Yeah. They keep having, because perhaps they've seen a first one, a second one, you know, you're still single,
Yeah.
And they're hopeful that's going to be daddy, so they're very skeptical. The first thing about them is that they're very, very skeptical.
And you know, Jen, you're saying something very important, because I've heard this conversation so many times. When are you supposed to bring a prospective partner to meet your children? You know, because there's some people who feel they're ready when, or they feel fuzzy, they feel nice, like you said, they bring in someone and then it doesn't work out, and then another person. So is there a timeline? How does it supposed to feel, look like?
Actually, not how they're supposed to feel. It's the fact on the ground. You work with the facts on the ground. There's a level where you disengage your heart a bit and you engage logic. Okay? If this man has said he's interested in you, Remy, and you have gone through it, you are in and out of several of those, and they've seen, and again, as I said, the third category, they're very skeptical, because they're like, they've seen you, you've got your first baby, then your second perhaps, and we are not judging you, but we're letting you understand as it is. So I say, number one, ask yourself, how ready is this man to marry me? And check at the signs. If he wants to settle with you, if she wants to settle with you. The first sign, does this man introduce you to, has he introduced you to his friends? Or is it just between the two of us? You go out for dates, you go for coffee, we're happy. And now I begin to tell my children I'm going out. No. So number one, has he introduced you to his inner circle of friends? And then the outer circle of friends. That shows that this person has got a mind that, wow, I would like to be this person. Let them start integrating, and it's both ways. Let them start integrating with my friends. If you've never met the friends of your partner to be, take a break.
There's a red flag there. No, it's telling you, wait. Perhaps even them don't want to be sure with you. They want to be sure of you. Then what is the second one? The second one is, are they free to discuss their tomorrow with you? You know, there's somebody who says, hey, me, when I get money and I get a good wife, I want to build with her in Kitengela or something like that. And you're thinking, so who am I? You're talking of when you get a good wife. I'm not the good wife.
So then, so far, I'm not the good wife. And period. True or not true? You know, there is a language code that tells you this person has integrated you or not. If a person has integrated you, there will be arising a lot of we in the conversation. When it comes to future plans, there'll be a bit of a we and your opinion. What do you think about this? If there is no opinion and the gentleman just went and bought himself some piece of land and good for you, and you are not even aware, you are not even asked about it, and you're almost going to tell your children, I'm getting married, pause. Because there was no we, there was no opinion, your opinion is irrelevant. So another thing is, closer home now, do they introduce you to their sisters? They start with cousins. They start from afar. My cousin we grew up with, they come closer, my brother, my sister, perhaps you're invited for a wedding, an event, or the family features, and then you're told this is my cousin, this is, and then the other question, they introduce you as who? Before you even go to tell your children, these are the things you need to check on. They introduce you as who? When you go to meet with their cousins, do they say this is a colleague? Amawe ni Mama Nyambura. Who do they introduce you as? So these are some of the things you need to check. Then you listen to, are we getting closer to the parents?
I see. Now, you see another thing that is quite interesting in all this when it comes to now separation. Given it's a marriage and there's divorce now happening, you find that some partners or individuals, they are bitter, right? So the split is it's not amicable. And then now they want the children to side with them, depending on what the scenario is. So of course that will not be a very good way that the kids will foresee this particular situation, or the children are now involved in a process which is very negative. And then even when there's a quote-unquote new partner coming in, one child may know who is for the mother, and then the other child may not know who is for the father. You know what I mean? So there's that polarity, and it's big. So when it comes to such things, and these are adults, and they are holding their own pains and bitterness, and they're trying to navigate this situation, and maybe the other one ameanza kudate and stuff like that. How does one navigate, especially those bitter feelings from interfering with how their children will be affected by the potential partners who will be coming into the marriage or relationship?
Do you know something? And I say this, we are all human. And when a parent is going through pain, we tell a parent, don't involve your children. But whether you involve them or not, they're seeing the pain. They're seeing the tears. They're seeing the heartache. They're part of that family. And most of them tend to be bitter with a parent. I tell parents, both sides, if need be that now you're going to separate, or you've already separated, first of all, mend the bridges between you and your children. Because at the end of the day, this will always be the father, this will always be the mother. And I encourage parents, don't speak negative of the other parent. It's the two of you who had issues. A lot of bitterness, Remy, is brought in by the parent who has left, and the one who, or the one who feels I was treated unjustifiably. I know they keep saying, you know, your dad does this, your dad doesn't pay fees, and you know it starts from afar. It starts from afar. Your dad doesn't pay fees, your dad is seeing another woman, and those small conversations begin to plant seeds of resentment. But you know, later, the resentment won't just be the dad, it will be both of you. It will be both of you. So I keep telling people, when you go for counseling, if you do, or if you don't, make sure your children go. Because at times children talk stuff you think, wow.
How did you even know that? Yeah.
Wow, they are so angry. Some of them will do things, Remy, and like I've dealt with severe cases, extreme cases, and when I take back the child to get to know the point of departure between that good boy to who you are going to become, usually is when the parent left. Or what mommy told me and I could see it, or seeing daddy beat, or seeing mommy mistreat daddy. It brings so much anger and resentment. Understand these young ones have not yet formed the ability to handle and to carry stress. So their body begins to produce cortisol, which is a stress hormone, while they are not of age to produce it. So what are the effects? Most of them would want to release this stress hormone with a quick fix of a feel-good. So what is a quick fix of a feel-good? Some go into drugs. Some get into the wrong company where they feel loved and appreciated. Some girls get a father figure, thinking that, you know, in their small world, they're looking for a father who later manipulates them, of course, because those babas are not necessarily the right people. Young boys look for older women, comfort from older women. All these people, what are they looking for? Comfort. Comfort, because when you begin to deal with issues and substance, you've got to deal with the root of where was the departure point. And I want to tell parents, at times we leave behind our children, and as we move on. We move on, you're okay, you're mature, your body can handle enough cortisol. You've handled it before, you know how to get your own feel good. So, but these young ones don't. So another thing, it affects their brain and their performance begins to dip. Another thing, it affects the immune system. So over time you realize a child, and realize these children, even at the age of 2, 3, 4, 5, they've already bonded with the parent. So when the parent is no longer there, you know, they blame themselves. They go through like a whole mourning period. Actually, they go through a whole mourning period. Then because of that, the stress eats into their system. They begin now to get sick frequently because the immunity is low. But it can be fixed when you sit with this child. Don't just cry alone. Let this child also cry on you. let this child tell you, Mommy, this is what I feel.
Like you keep an open door.
Yes, and Daddy, this is how I feel. And listen. And assure them. The thing they need is assurance.
Right.
They need your assurance that it's going to be well, so that they walk through with you well. So as you say, when they get to meet the other parent, the polarity of there's so much strife, so much anger, so much bitterness, I support, I don't support, will not be there. Internally, some may be, but at least it's already manageable. So what do? We make the situation manageable, because everybody needs to manage themselves. So we don't leave these children who are going to blend with to manage themselves. They are not of age. And then you expect a perfect child when they move to the next relationship.
I see. I know. It's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. But you know, Jane, we need to take a short break. But I'll be back with a very interesting question. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
At People Daily, we believe small actions lead to monumental changes. As we